Okay, so hello and welcome to another Foreman community demo. Please note that this demo is being recorded. So if you have problems with the live stream, you can watch back at a later stage. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Freenode IRC or on the YouTube live chat, as both will be monitored. And before we begin, just a few announcements. So Dana Singletary of the Red Hat product management team will give another Red Hat roadmap update to the community on September 16th. Dana's previous session proved quite popular and we're hoping to host regular events throughout the year. I have added a link to the event in the video description of the stream, so if you're interested, add it to your calendar. And also, we're looking to host some deep dives into provisioning with Foreman, but Foreman has so many provisioning options that we need your help to figure out what to prioritize. We've created a mini questionnaire, so if you're interested in seeing some provisioning deep dives, please let us know what interests you. The survey takes less than a minute to complete, and a link to information about that is also in the video description of this live stream. And I think that's everything from me for now, so I'm going to, Tomer is up first, and he's going to talk about the release, the latest releases, and also some information about community templates.
Hello. So first of all, about the releases, over the past couple of weeks, we had two new releases. Foreman 2.0.2, which will be the last release in the 2.0 line, and Foreman 2.1.2. Both of them have some pretty significant improvements. So I suggest that if you haven't updated yet, then please update it. Additionally, we are currently on the testing phase for Foreman 2.2. So the first release candidate is out, and we would appreciate if people can help test out this release candidate and make sure that everything is working properly. There is a thread on Discourse about Foreman 2.2 test rig. So if you do test out the release candidate, please mark what scenarios you are testing, so we know that these are covered and we don't duplicate the effort. That's all I had for releases. Hopefully we will get Foreman 2.2 out within 3 to 4 weeks. Now for community templates, some of you are familiar with the community templates repository, which has been archived about a month ago or a month and a half ago. But I thought it made sense to bring more attention to that. The usage of the repo was quite difficult because it required syncing templates between different repositories. And it made testing the templates in this repository much more difficult than needed. And we would get a lot of bugs that we caught right before releases because of that. So instead of this repository, now if you wish to submit some changes and updates to the templates that are shipped with Foreman by default, for partition tables, provisioning templates, and report templates, they all live inside the main Foreman repository under app views unattended. So please feel free to submit pull requests updating them here. For the job templates, they live in different repositories. The generic SSH templates live inside the remote execution plugin. Job templates for specific providers such as Ansible or Salt live inside those specific plugins. So remote execution job templates for Ansible will live in the Ansible plugin, for Salt in the Salt plugin, and job templates for specific plugins that are only relevant if you have a certain plugin installed, such as Katello, will live in that plugin's repository. That is all for me.
Thank you, Tomer. That was great. And I think the first of our demos today is Justin Sherrill with a demo on running Katello without Pulp 2. And I think that there's a small bit of a delay today on the live stream. So if there's any questions, I can ask them, we can ask them asynchronously.
Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. So today we've been working a lot lately on Pulp 3, as a lot of people have seen already. If you install Pulp 3 or Katello 3.16, you'll have Pulp 3 for Docker file and yum types. And so we're looking towards the future at actually removing Pulp 2. And so we've done some work recently on making Katello work without Pulp 2 present. There were a lot of checks in the code that would fail pretty hardly if it wasn't there. So I'm going to show you an install here where we've got our Pulp core smart proxy plugin. We do not have a Pulp smart proxy plugin, which was the Pulp 2 plugin. And if we look at our Katello configuration, there's no Pulp connection information. So this install knows nothing about Pulp 2. It doesn't know how to talk to it or that it's there. And I'm just going to show you a couple of things real quick. I can create a yum repo. And I'm going to show a system registry, which previously had data that was being stored in Pulp 2, which is no longer being stored in Pulp at all. So this is available in nightly, but Pulp 2 is still being installed. So there's future work that has to be done to actually make the installer, not install Pulp 2 when that time comes. Or if Rel 8 support is added, we could do that without Pulp 2. And that is it.
Thank you, Chris. Now just check there. I think on the live stream we're still technically talking, so there might not be any questions, but as I said, we can get to them in time. So up next is Ron with Trigger Toast from API middleware.
Yeah, hello everyone. Let me share my screen. Yeah, so I want to show you how can we trigger toast notification from the Redux API action. So a few days ago, it got merged into develop. You can see we added here 2 new keys, new props, success toast and error toast. And you can see that after the API call is triggered, if it was successful, we dispatch the success action. And right after that, we dispatch the add toast, which trigger actually the UI notification. And let's go to the code. Okay, so earlier, I think 1 month ago, we added the handle success and handle error callbacks. And we saw that many consumers just use them to dispatch the toast. So we created this kind of shortcut. Instead of doing the handle success and then dispatching the add toast Redux action, you could do something like success toast and pass here only a function that returns a string. So it can reduce a lot of code. And right now I saw that Foreman task also dispatch toast on when the request starting, showing something like trying to cancel a step or trying to cancel some task. That's something we didn't add yet, but I think it would be cool to add it too. Now a question to you. It's more about style. We prefer to use like the keys success toast or error toast, but maybe we can support something looks like under the toast key, we can do something like request, success, error. So tell us what you think. We did it because sometimes there's only a success toast, so maybe it's more readable. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks, Ron. That looks great. And let me check everything. Okay, so up next we have Samir with modular package filtering with Pulp 3.
Hey, I'm just sharing my screen here. Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to present some of the work we have done around modular filtering. And this should be available in 3.16 Katello. So yeah, I'll just run through some of the normal use cases here. So here I have a content view with one repository, which has 14 module streams and 22 packages. It has a mix of like modular and non-modular packages. So I'll just go ahead and create a normal package filter. Oops, sorry. And let's include the Walrus package. So this is a non-modular package. So if I publish now, what this should do is bring in the Walrus non-modular package and all of the module streams. So the point is package filters don't impact module streams at all. So as you can see, you still have 14 module streams. So now to filter out module streams in such a case, you can probably go ahead and create a exclusion filter. So here we have an exclusion modular filter, and we can go ahead and exclude all of the module streams. So this combination of filters should now filter out all of the module streams. We'll wait for it to publish. Yeah, so as you can see now, we have just one Walrus package and all of the module streams filtered out. And similarly, if we, let me just delete both of these and create a new module stream filter. And let's just add these 4 module streams here and publish. So what we'll have with this is it should ideally copy 4 module streams and all of the non-modular packages as well, since we have no package filters on this CV. Yeah, so as you can see, we copied over 4 module streams and the 4 packages that were tied to it. And then this repository also had 8 non-modular packages, all of which got copied here. Similarly, if you want to exclude all of the packages, non-modular packages, you can create an exclusion filter. All right, so with this exclusion filter, we should be able to see only module streams, and all of the non-modular packages will get filtered out. Yeah, so as you can see, we got only module streams, 4 of them, and the 4 packages tied to it. Okay, next up, we can go to errata filters. So errata filters work differently because they impact both modular packages and non-modular packages. So I'll just go ahead and show an example. Let's create an inclusion filter here. And let's add this duck kangaroo erratum. This is a modular errata. So let's publish a CV with this. So this should ideally filter out all of the non-modular packages and all of the modular packages that are not dependent on the duck kangaroo errata. So as you can see, we have two module streams. If I go inside, those should be the duck and kangaroo. And yeah, so these are the basic use cases. There are many more. You can go back and look at some of the earlier module stream demos that Partha has done on this topic. What we are going for here is feature parity. So most of the things that we're working with Pulp 2, in fact, all of the things that we're working with Pulp 2 should ideally work with Pulp 3. Yeah. And that's it.
Excellent, Samir. Thank you very much for that. And let me check. I think we're good. I think our stream quality seems to have improved as well, so that's always good. And let me check. I don't see any questions at the moment, but as always, people are free to ask them when they would like. So up next is Jonathan with HTTP proxies in Virt-who configure.
Hey everybody, thanks Melanie. Samir, would you mind stop sharing so that I can share my screen? Thank you, Samir. Okay, let me get this going. All right, hi everybody. So earlier this year, my team took ownership of the Virt-who configure plugin for Foreman, and we recently merged in our first enhancement for that plugin, and that's what I'll be showing you today. However, all credit for everything I'm about to show you goes to Piyush Tiwari, who was our intern for the past few months. However, he's gone back to school, so he's not here today to demo the great work that he's done. So just some quick background information. The Virt-who configure plugin helps, well, it's kind of in the name. It creates the configuration files needed by Virt-who in an automated way so that you don't have to kind of craft them by hand and you can manage them all from within Foreman. If you're not familiar with Virt-who, if you're a Red Hat customer and you have certain subscriptions that provide virtual guests, such as the virtual data center subscription, you would use Virt-who to report information back to Foreman and Katello regarding your hypervisors and the virtual guests that are associated to those hypervisors. So that's kind of the larger picture here. And the RFE that we received was, you know, when I create a Virt-who configuration, if I want to use an HTTP proxy, I have to type the URL and everything related to it in by hand. But, you know, I've already got those HTTP proxies configured in Foreman. Why can't I just use those? We agreed, and so that's kind of what we made happen. So let me show you here. I've got two HTTP proxies configured. One of them is HTTP. The other is HTTPS. And if I go to the infrastructure menu and go to Virt-who configurations, I already have a configuration created. And you can see here that it is using one of these proxies. Now, if I go to edit and I scroll down, we have HTTP proxy. So previously this was a text field where you would manually enter your information. Definitely kind of an error-prone thing, right? If you make a typo and then end up deploying a broken configuration, it's not going to work, and then you have to come back here and debug what the issue was. So we're hoping that this is going to make things a little more reliable, especially, you know, having the list of all your HTTP proxies here. So if I select one, I'll select my HTTPS one and submit. If I go to deploy, that generates the script that I can use on my hypervisor to kind of install this configuration. And we see that the way the proxy configuration manifest is here. And because I was using an HTTPS proxy, it set the HTTPS proxy environment variable so that Virt-who will send all of its traffic through that proxy. And of course, if I go back and edit it to use my HTTP proxy, I would expect to see that it sets the HTTP proxy environment variable. And there it is. So one of the interesting challenges we had with this feature is that, if you already had an HTTP proxy configured, which was manually typed in, how do we migrate that information? And we were actually quite successful in doing so. So what happens upon upgrading, if you are using this plugin, we are going to look and see if any of your existing proxies match the information you've entered. If we find one, then we'll associate the configuration to that proxy. However, if we don't find one, we will create a new one and associate that, and we'll give it a prefix in the name of the HTTP proxy, like Virt-who dash, and some information that is specific to that proxy to make sure that it's unique. And if there are multiple configurations using that same proxy, we're not going to create it multiple times. They'll all be associated with that singular one that we created at an earlier point in the migration. And I think that concludes everything I had to show for this feature. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jonathan. Let me just check now. I think we are good. Yeah, we're good, Jonathan. Thank you very much for your demo. And up next is Leos, and Leos has 2 items to demo for us. So Foreman operations jobs categories, and also creating hosts with global registration.
Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, so first topic I'm going to talk about is new job category called maintenance operations. There are 2 job templates: capsule upgrade playbook and configure cloud connector. There are Ansible playbooks from the Ansible plugin, so the feature is the same, nothing new. We just created new job category for that. So next time when we want to run capsule upgrade playbook, be careful, it's not anymore inside the Ansible playbooks category, but under the maintenance operations category. And that was the first thing. That's just a small little change. The second thing I'm going to talk about is host registration. Last few weeks, we've been working on the feature for registering already running hosts to Foreman. This feature aims to do brownfield deployment where you have already running hosts and you want to register them to the Foreman without any provisioning, just register to Foreman and do some steps like set up SSH and something. For this, we created global registration template. Since the last time I did the presentation here, we added some steps for registering hosts, and plus we added feature with passing variables to the template. So I will show it on my CentOS system. If you will call register endpoint on the Foreman, you can see that you can pass organization ID, location ID, and the third parameter could be host group. It will render the content of the template. There are all steps necessary for the host registration to the Foreman. For the RHEL and CentOS systems, we used subscription manager, as you can see here. For other systems, let's say Debian or others, we will just run simple curl request to the Foreman API, where we will pass some required information for the host. So if I will show you the command, how it works, this is my CentOS system, and we will execute all the steps from the global registration template. The template is, of course, customizable, so users can basically do whatever they want to do with the template. We just provide some basic steps so you can see how to use it. And as you can see, the host has been registered to the Foreman. So if I will go to my hosts, you can see that the CentOS is right now here. The rel was already there. And the same applies for the, let's say, on Ubuntu or Debian, matter, exactly the same. The idea is to give user one command and nothing else, just the simplest registration without any other hassle. And that's what it. As you can see, ta-da, Debian is here. This feature is still under development. We are adding more and more features. Like the future plan is also add to some support for the proxy. So the users who don't have direct access from the servers to the Foreman, but they have to go through the proxy. So we want to add support for the proxy. Also add some steps for SSH configurations, because when you're registering to the host, you usually want to set up SSH as well. And some support for the insights client, and yeah, some other features, as I said, is still in development. So, or if you guys have any other idea what could be useful or anything, there is RFC, the community server, where you can like post your ideas, comments, anything. And that's probably everything from me.
That's great, Leos. If you have a link to that RFC, if you could reply to the community demo discourse event with that, so that people can.
Yes, I will do it right away.
Thank you very much. And I will just check, has anyone questions for you? But so far, I do not think so. Nope. So up next is Adam, who's going to give an update on some work he did around host counts in Rex.
Hello, everyone. This one demo will be slightly different because it won't be about a new feature, but actually about a bug fix I did recently. Bit of a background so everything makes sense. Remote execution is a plugin. Well, Foreman remote execution is a plugin which allows you to run scripts from your Foreman on your hosts. And for that, you need your hosts, obviously, and the script to run. And then all this gets bundled into one job invocation. That's the real name we're using for it in Foreman. And it represents the single run. When it runs, it produces some kind of artifacts like outputs from the hosts and statuses for the host, like did the invocation of this script on this particular host succeed or fail, or what happened. Now, it was built around an assumption that all the input data stays, that it never goes away. Sadly, it's not always the case. It may happen that the hosts get deleted, for example, and then the UI wasn't really built to handle that. So it manifested itself in quite interesting ways. You might have already spotted it in here on the highlighted row. We can see that there was a job running ls-la/ on 10 hosts. The job itself succeeded. It succeeded on 10 hosts, but it ran on 9 hosts total. Now, this is odd, isn't it? What happened here was that I ran the job, and when it was finished, I deleted one of the hosts. This is not as bad. It's still pretty comprehensible what's going on. Well, 10 succeeded. Then there were probably 10 hosts and just 9. So here it kind of makes sense, but it's obviously not correct. When we look at the details, there things start to get a bit more obvious. The chart is kind of interesting. 10 hosts succeeded, -1 didn't. And the overall success was on 111% of the hosts, which is fun. And if you look into the details, again, it succeeded on 111.1% of the hosts, and it was cancelled on 11.1% of the hosts, which doesn't really add up. Here, the total hosts card shows 9, and the table at the bottom shows 9 of the hosts. This is obviously broken, but this is not as bad as it could be. To add a twist to it, both of these pages take the current organization and location into account. And currently, I was in any organization, but when the job was finished, I removed one host, and then I took another one from which was in the job, and moved it to a different organization. So I switched to an organization where there's only one host from the entire job. We get a bit more interesting numbers. Here in the index, we can see that it succeeded on 10 hosts. That's fine. And that total there was 1 host in the job. Okay, fine. Let's look into the details. And here things are even more funny. The chart shows us 1000% success. However, at the same time, it tells us that -900% cancelled. 10 success, -9 cancelled. Total hosts says 1, and the table says 1. This is obviously broken. So I went ahead and fixed it. Just give me a moment to apply the patch and restart Foreman so it actually gets fixed. Now, if I go back to the index, okay, Foreman is still starting. Refresh. And okay, let's go back to any organization. And we can see that on the index page, the job succeeded on 10 hosts, and there were 10 hosts in total in the job, which is correct, even though 1 was deleted later, but we don't really know or care about it. Now, the chart is correct. The job was successful on 10 hosts. It was 100% success. Now, the total hosts card splits up when there's a missing host. So it says the job was run on 10 hosts in total. But since then, 1 host has gone missing. We can't say exactly if the host was deleted or moved to another organization because we don't really know. We just know that the host disappeared after the job was finished. So it just explains why the numbers are the way they are. So it says originally the job ran on 10 hosts, and since then, 1 of the hosts disappeared. And there's a tooltip explaining that it can happen if the host is either removed or moved to another organization or location after the job is started. And the table at the bottom shows the 9 hosts, the 9 remaining hosts. Now, if I switch to the organization with only one host, and now I hope it doesn't break. I haven't tested. Oh, good. Good. The chart still shows that it succeeded on 100% of the hosts, and it succeeded on 10 hosts. That's fine. In total, there are 10 hosts in the job, and 9 have gone missing since the start of the job. And the table shows just the 1 host, which is in the current organization. So this is the current state with the fix. The patch was already merged, but it wasn't released yet. So it might take a while until it actually gets to the packages and everything. But take this just as a heads up that this is coming. And if you see this orange triangle card with host gone missing, now you have some background as to why that happened and what it means. And that's about it. That's all I had for today.
Thanks, Adam. That's great to know. And let me see now. So up next, we have Andre with report data scanners API change, and also an update on the trends and statistics work that's going on.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So today I will show you a bit of implementation details that are mostly interesting for developers. But first, let me just tell you why we were forced to do such a change. So how we got into it was that Ansible, the way it reports back the status of a task that ran, and we have the callback. Most of the Ansible users are familiar with this callback, and this callback sends the data back to Foreman. This callback is already in Ansible itself, so it's a bit harder to change it for us now. And this callback for some Ansible changes stopped sending an information where the report was generated. So you can see here that we don't know the origin of the report. This is pretty not so important information for most of the people, but it can mess up with the information about the host report status. So here the configuration is active, but it's just because it takes the Ansible configuration. If I would be deleting this Ansible report, it would fall back to default report, even though it's Ansible report as well, but we don't know about that, and it doesn't work for some reason. Doesn't catch up. Oh yeah, but the configuration status would go to warning out of sync, just because it will fetch the default out of sync configuration. So what we have done, we have fixed it in the Foreman Ansible modules where the callback lives now, and thanks for that to Marcus Butcher, who made the actual fixing. And we added in here, you can see the report that Ansible is sending to Foreman, and in here no information about the fact that this report was generated by Ansible. And what we did, we added reporter Ansible, but to identify the origin of report, we used just logs in the past. So we would need to add this notion to every log that is here, find out this information. So we went on and changed how the report are identified. The origin of report is identified, and we are handing over the all information and not just the logs to be able to parse this information. If you are a maintainer of any configuration management plugin to Foreman, be aware that now we introduced identify origin and report data methods to the scanner, and you will need to change it to the version 2.4. You should see the deprecation warning. So yes, you can see the Ansible change as for inspiration. So yeah, in case you would be interested in fixing this bug in older Ansible, from Ansible 2.9 you can install the Foreman collection and just use the Foreman callback instead of the Foreman one, and this bug is gonna be fixed for you. Okay, that's everything for the Ansible part. And now to statistics, trends and statistics. So I already told you about the trends and statistics. I was presenting how you can install the plugin locally. Now I have just two more informations for you, as we are closing to the release of Foreman 2.2. And with Foreman 2.2, this change is gonna be necessary, and the trends and statistics are gonna be gone from your Foreman installation. So there are two groups of interest. One that doesn't want to use trends and statistics anymore, and for such a group we have this rake task that will purge all data that relates to trends and statistics from your installation. So if you want to say goodbye trends and statistics, use this rake. We will clean up the data for you, but we want to give it a few versions for the people who forgot to install the plugin, for them not to lose the data. And the other group of interest is people who want to continue using trends and statistics. There is slight improvement that hopefully will get to 2.2, but I believe so. It's not merged yet, but it's really tiny bit before merging, so we will almost for sure make it to 2.2. And that change is that in the past you needed to use Foreman rake trends counter to get the one point of the trends in time. Now we moved the counter to dyne flow action. So the dyne flow action is gonna do that for you. If you install the Foreman through Foreman installer, everything is gonna be handled for you. But if you've added the rake task manually in the past, please remove it. Otherwise, the trends are going to be processed twice as often as you would like to. And that was it. Thanks for your attention.
Thanks, Andre. That's great. Let me just check everything. I think we are clear. And up next then is Maria with 2 updates. One around interface API showing the Rex flag, and then the other one, an update on recurring logics page additions.
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Thank you.
So inside the host page, there is the interfaces tab, and until now you can edit the remote execution flag from here and through the UI. So we wanted to add the option to also view it and edit it through the API. So now you can just run a usual API request to host interfaces, and you will see the flag there. And currently I'm also working on adding it to Hammer, so it will also be available there. So this is about interface and execution. The second thing I wanted to talk about is about recurring logics. I have added the ID here, so you can see which ID, and when you click on it, it opens the recurring logic instead the cron line, and it will open in a new window. And also there is a search bar here with bookmarks, the usual thing. You can search by the available fields that will show up in the auto field. And the last thing that we added is a toast notification when you disable or enable recurring logics from the table. So you can know you actually did something and not just wonder if it worked or not. You can see that here. And searching, for example, ID equals 2. And it will open the filtered table. I had a short demo. Thank you.
That's great, Maria. Thank you very much. So let me see now. For the second demo, just for the first demo of the day after Tomer was on running Katello without Pulp 2, and that was presented by Justin Sherrill, not Chris, as I attributed to afterwards. And I was just wondering, Chris, you had some technical problems with your location. Will you be able to go ahead, do you think, or should we do it next time?
No, I'm good now.
Cool. So this is the actual Chris Roberts.
All right, so let me go ahead and share. All right. So I was just going to do a quick demo of some things that we've done with the simple content access around system purpose. So right now, what I'm showing is a screen of what would appear normally if you have a manifest attached that doesn't have simple content access. You'll see down at the system purpose, you'll see that it's matched. You'll see that there's an SLA attached. That's either going to show matched or unknown, but it's going to show something. What I wanted to do is show the new enhancements that we've done. So you'll see that this organization, or this, whoops, I waited too long. Back in there. So we'll see that this organization's in simple content access mode. What we've done is we've basically, as it refreshes, come on. It's on my dev box too, so sorry about that. It's a little slow. So you'll see that it's hidden now. So we've hidden that because that has caused some confusion of why is this showing mismatched if I have access to all my content and everything. So we've hidden that. If we also go to host and all host, we remove the system purpose out of the host properties as well. And that was it. Just a quick little demo there.
Perfect. Chris, thank you very much. And I think that was the end of the demos for today. I will just check one last time to see if there are questions, but I don't think so. So if anyone who is watching now or is watching back later has any questions, feel free to reach out to us on the Foreman discourse or leave a comment on the video and I'll chase up with people afterwards. So I just first of all would like to thank everybody who demoed today. I very much appreciate it. And I would like to thank everybody who bared with us throughout the live stream also. Again, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.